A pioneer of the sexual revolution has passed. Playboy founder Hugh Hefner was a civil rights and First Amendment trailblazer, but he was also divisive to some folks. Some felt he empowered women, others said he exploited them. Thoughts?
Well, I mean, I didn't know him. I know you did.
I met him too.
Yeah, I didn't know him, but from afar, I did feel like it was exploitive. And then, you know, you have the article that Gloria Steinem wrote because she went undercover at the Playboy Mansion, and she described such terrible things.
Playboy Club.
Playboy Club, rather. She describes, you know, just how women were treated, what they were forced to wear, and it made me uncomfortable.
Yeah, he was a mixed bag. He was very progressive politics, against all kinds of racism. You know, he was good with that. But with women, let's put it this way, Gloria Steinem's not going to read his eulogy.
Yeah,
but there were, you know, people always joke about the articles were good. There were amazing writers.
They were.
And they had, like, Kurt Vonnegut.
The best writers in America.
So there were some really good articles. Not that I ever saw any.
Did you read these articles, Sarah?
But I do think that he was a pioneer, and I always applaud someone that kind of busts a new lane in the road. Like,
the guy also, here's the thing, it's like, it's in a way, it's, I hate to bring Donald Trump's name into this, but people say, you know, he's not a sexist because he hires women. Well, so did Hugh Hefner. He made his daughter the CEO of the Playboy industry, and he hired women, and but he also exploited women. He objectified women by showing, but he also was the, Kim Kardashian would not be among us without Hugh Hefner setting the tone back in the 50s, because it's been progressively more and more sex. And remember, in the 50s, it was so repressed in those days. Women were all uptight, you know, with the hard collars and no sex. Women who had to get an abortion could not get them in those days.
But then if we think of it that way, didn't he empower women to go and take that? Because he didn't force anyone to work at the club. So did he allow women to come in? He said, here, this is what we're doing. Women came in, made their own money, had their gigs, sort of brought this idea of stewardesses and Playboy bunnies and sort of elevated maybe a different kind of conversation.
Well, because, yeah, the women that showed up and wanted to be a part of that, I say if you feel objectified, you did that. No one does that to you. If you go in and take that job or that's what you want to do. But it also raised their game in certain circles and businesses. Because when you say you were a Playboy bunny, there was an iconic status to that brand.
I think Gloria Steinem would say that that was low consciousness also. That maybe they were willing victims of this, of willing, what shall I say, players. But you could say they also have a low consciousness.
He was more at fault for the idea of the thoughts he planted in men's minds about women and objectifying. The women, I don't feel.
But a lot of times women don't have the same opportunities. And if you look at,
remember the time we're talking about. You know, there was, you know, when Gloria came out and Betty Friedan came out, remember, they were talking to women saying, you can go out and do whatever you want to do. And so I kind of feel like if women decided they wanted to be hot and sexy in their outfits, and that's how they felt, I was never a bunny, so I don't know. But in my own mind, you know.
But I don't know. I mean, you know, I can see the mixed bag. You know, he had some really, and I think most people are mixed bags, right? You have some great qualities and not so great qualities. But in terms of giving women opportunity and women, you know, having to be responsible for it, you know, Gloria Steinem in this essay, she says the bunnies tended to be poorly educated, overworked, and underpaid. The club took 50% of the first $30 they made in tips. Bunnies had to pay for a lot of their own costumes, and a lot of the men that worked there would just call them bunny, 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 bunny. And so
disrespectful.
Very disrespectful.
Ogling, a lot of ogling.
You know, same with strippers. I mean, sometimes they do it because they need the money.
It's like Maggie Gyllenhaal's character in The Deuce. Like, there's a way to look at her, like and when you're first watching it, you project your own limitations. Like, oh my gosh, poor thing had to prostitute. But she actually talks about the empowerment of choosing her own way. So it was her choice to do. So there's a side to it that we can't understand because the lens we're looking through is limited. We wouldn't do that.
Listen. If I came from a place, if I could have gotten a job, you know, think of all the places that women couldn't go to work. They weren't hiring women. And these women said, you know what, I'm going out, this man is hiring. And I'm going to go and I'm going to do this. You can't look at this through a 2017 lens. You have to look at this in an early 60s lens and figure these young women who are out there said, yeah, I'm out there, I'm doing my thing, I'm being me. And it's one thing for, I love Gloria Steinem, but you know, I just feel like if a woman decides that she's going to take her destiny into her hands, that's empowering to me. I don't have to love how she does it because I wouldn't have done it, but she had the opportunity to go and do this, and I think, okay, if this is your choice, that's how I feel about folks in the skin industry too. If this is what you're choosing and no one is forcing you, I'm good with you.
Well, it's not that no one's forcing anybody to do all that, but there is kind of like the system is forcing you into that particular mold.
Less opportunity.
But there was no opportunity. There was no opportunity. Again,
well, that's not true. I was there, and I was a teacher.
I was there, too.
I know you were. But I had plenty of opportunities. I worked in a 5 and 10. I worked for the New York State Employment Service.
Yes, but some women didn't want to do that. And they wanted to do something different.
I think some women had ideas of also trying to break into the business, and so their idea of that was whatever it takes. And you have these, they were all beautiful women, and
they were. Why don't we see if we can get some bunnies and invite them on?
Yes, because
why don't we see if we can get some bunnies to come on?
I think that's a great idea because I would like to understand this more.
Barbara Walters played a bunny once.
Well, we're going to show that.
I would like to understand more, and also, I mean, if you look at fast forward to what was it? Holly Madison was one of the women that lived in the mansion. She wrote this tell-all book, and she talked about the fact that she didn't really understand that part of the arrangement was she had to have sex with him.
I understood that, and I never lived there. Like, Holly, come on, girl.
You know what? I don't know anything about that. I don't know anything about people living in the mansion having sex. I did not have sex when I lived in the mansion.
I went to the mansion.
Yeah, we've both been in the mansion.
What did you have to do, Joy? I went to the mansion. He opens the door. He's in his pajamas. I thought he's taking a nap, and I realized that's what he wears all day long.
All the time.
The pajamas all day.
All day.
Oh my gosh, you did too.
Imagine if your husband walked around, there I am. Imagine if your husband walked around in his pajamas all day, you'd do awesome.
I wish my husband had a robe that cute.
Then he has a zoo on the property.
A zoo?
The animals are all naked. No, I'm kidding.
Were there women scantily dressed also?
There were women around. You know, what I must say about him though, he's very, very sweet, very nice, very lovely guy. He was open-minded, of course, as we know. So it's a mix. Like I said, it's a mixed bag. Yeah.
And as we said, Barbara Walters has ties to have. She put on the bunny ears and tail to be a bunny.
Oh, look at that.
Yeah, Barbara was hot.
That's back in 1962.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. You know?
That's the last time she waited on any table, I'll tell you that.
We'll be right back with more Hot Topics.